Next, I got 2 books from my grandmother for my birthday. Kingdom of Souls by Renee Barron, and this one is about Arsha, who is told from a young age by her grandmother that she will be a very powerful witch doctor one day. But Arsha just can't wait that long, and I believe she makes like some sort of deal with a demon king, and then she tries to get out of the deal, and it's kind of hefty, a lot bigger than I thought it would be. It could just be because this is a slightly taller book, or it could just be a lot more pages, I don't know. But it looks really interesting and dark, and I love stories surrounding African magic and mythology, so I'm really looking forward to this one. So this is about Seraphina, who is a 7th born witch. Her mother is a witch who gave birth to 7 daughters, I believe, or just 7 children. Born daughter. No, 7th daughter to a witch, and because of this, her mother not only loses her powers, but her life after Seraphina is born. And once Seraphina is abandoned by her family, she is taken into this academy of witches, where I've already read the first few pages actually, where she is treated like absolutely terribly. Like she is like the lowest of the low. Just because she is the 7th born, it's like they can get away with treating her anyway. And from what I understand, 7th borns are actually not allowed to hang out with each other. Like she was just looking at a girl from across the room, and then one of the teachers used magic to throw her out of a chair, which sent the book she was reading into the fire. And the teacher's like, well, why'd you throw that book into the fire? And she's like, I didn't, you knocked me out of the chair. And then of course the teacher does something else. It's like, what did you say? And she's like, nothing. So she's just like treated terribly. Next, I got Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the final book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and I got this from my mother. There's really not a lot I can say about this book because, well, it's the last book in the series. Only thing I can tell you is that Audrey Rose and Thomas are in New York, and they are on the trail of another serial killer. That's all I can say without spoiling anything, but I have already finished this book, and you will see it in my September wrap-up. I actually forgot one last book pre-birthday gifts, and that is Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. This is the first book in the Horseman series, and this follows Pestilence and his captive Sarah. So Pestilence and the 4 horsemen come to Earth, and suddenly technology just goes out. Pretty much the whole world is working with oil lamps and generators that aren't always reliable. And then one day Pestilence shows back up, and everywhere he goes, as his name, just plague, boils, and people getting sick is just everywhere. And then suddenly Sarah tries to kill him, and as her punishment he takes her captive and makes her watch as he kills the rest of the world. And that's as far as I'm going to tell you, but you definitely should read this. It is definitely a love to hate relationship. Hey guys, so I was done, but then this box showed up as a surprise, and it's an entire book from Book Outlet from my mother. My mom went all out this year. She got me the other books and the clothes I showed you, and now this. So I pretty much have an idea of what could be in this box, but I've cut it open, but I have not actually looked inside of it yet. Like I said, I pretty much know what could be in this box because I just told my mom to pick any book from my Book Outlet wish list, and I have deleted any books that I already own from that list, whether that be because I got it from Book Outlet or from somewhere else. So I will be at least assured that nothing in this book will be a double book. So let's get into it. They use very little paper this time around. I have 3 books from the Sweep series in a bind up, and that is Book of Shadows, which I have already read. The Coven is the 2nd book, and Blood Witch is the 3rd book. I actually was in my local used bookstore and didn't buy those 2. I was tempted to, but I said, you know what? I'll just pick them up later when I know I will for sure read them right away. And it's a good thing I didn't because I got this. Next I have Long May She Reign by Rianne Thomas. This is about our character Feyre, who is 23rd in line for the throne. So of course she knows she's never going to be queen. So she has dedicated her life to science and experiments and all that. And then suddenly one day at a banquet, everyone is poisoned. So now Feyre, 23rd in line, is now queen. and this is just gonna go so bad for her. I know it. So obviously she doesn't want to be queen, but she has to now. So I imagine there's a lot of politicalness, and then her council probably trying to control her because they think they can. And I imagine there's some female ass kicking of men in this book. So I've been looking at it for a few years now, though I did see the hardback, which actually looks shorter than the paperback, which is odd. So I am very much looking forward to this. Next I have A Study in Charlotte by Brithday Cavallaro, and this is about well, Charlotte Holmes and I believe Jamie Watson, and they are the descendants of Sherlock Holmes and Watson, and they both go to the same boarding school and they become friends and solve mysteries. That's pretty much all I know. I don't even know what the mystery is, but I love Sherlock Holmes. I've actually been meaning to get into the original Sherlock Holmes books, and I might do the first Sherlock book before I read this one to kind of see like the parallels, but we'll see when I get to it. Next I have The Midnight Witch by Paula Brixton, and this is from the same author who wrote The Witch's Daughter, who I also ordered earlier for myself. This is about Lilith, who is the daughter of a duke, and when her father passes away, her brother may get all their father's noble title out in public, but she actually gets to be the head of, I think, like a witches council, and she actually inherited their father's gift for necromancy. And that's all I know about this book. That's all I want to know, because like Silver Witch, I kind of went into that one completely blind, other than knowing it's about a woman who is grieving her husband, and that obviously at some point, because of the title, she must find out that she's a witch. I want to go into these books, all books by Paula Brixton, completely blind. So I may know about the necromancy. I know her father dies. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. And I cannot wait for this one. Ooh, I've been wanting this one for a while, and I've almost broken down a few times and bought it, but I've always held off. And I got Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is a book that's been really big on Pt2. People were raving about it when it first came out, and they're still pretty much raving about it. This is about a world where there is no hunger, there is no disease, and there is no death. Humanity has conquered literally everything, and now no one dies. So there are these things called scythes, who are basically kind of like Grim Reapers. They are kind of like in charge of like thinning the herd. So you could live 200 years, 300 years, 500 years, but sometime in your life, a scythe will come to you and say, hey, you've lived a good life, but it's time. It's your time to go now, so that the population can continue to thrive. And our two main characters do not want the job of scythe. They do not want to kill people, but if they do not follow through with this kind of internship as a scythe, and at the end one of them will be chosen, they both will die. So they have to go through with this so that one of them can hopefully live. And like I said, pretty much anything to do with death or the afterlife is just like my dark pleasure, and I love it. This one I actually requested from the library because one of my reading groups on Goodreads is actually doing a readathon for this one, and I believe at this point in time it starts in 5 days or so. So now I won't have to get it from the library. I'll cancel my request of it, and that is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. Yeah, Lily Anderson. Yes, our main character Mila, her and her friend are kind of like amateur Wiccans, and one day her best friend and two popular girls who they did not get along with are found dead. The police have pretty much deemed it suicide, convinced that these three girls were in some sort of suicide pact, and of course Mila knows her best friend would not do this, because not only could she not stand these girls, but she just wouldn't kill herself. So she does a spell to summon their ghosts, and apparently the girls can't remember anything about the day they died. So she starts helping them piece their day together to figure out who killed them. And I believe she only has like 48 hours to do this, hence why it's such a tiny short book, before their spirits move on, before the spell wears off and their spirits move on. And I'm so looking forward to this. I've been in such a witchcraft Wiccan reads mood lately, as you will see from my Halloween wrap up, which will actually be September and October. I've decided that I will wait to film my September wrap up and film September and October together to make it a Halloween read wrap up. So I will I will hopefully get to this one because, like I said, my Goodreads group, well, not my Goodreads group, but a group I have joined on Goodreads will be reading this for a Halloween read, and I can't wait. Next, I have Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. My tongue's getting tied up because I'm thirsty. So this is about our main character, Alosa. And I read the first book a few months ago, and I can't wait to read this. This is like a very female Jack Sparrow. She's got these crazy ideas that you think will never work, and yet they somehow do. And you're like, how? She's kind of like Aelin from the Throne of Glass series in that way, where she makes a plan and you're like, where is this going? This is gonna go terrible. And then bam, it works. And you're like, but how did that work? So we find out in the first book that the title pretty much gives away who she is. She's the daughter of a pirate king and the daughter of a siren queen. So I imagine this one has to deal a whole lot more with sirens than the first book did, because that was just something that brought down, I believe I gave it a 3-star rating, and it's just something that brought down my enjoyment just a little bit, because I really wanted sirens. I wanted sirens and songs and hypnotizing people to do what they wanted, and I got a little bit of that, but not as much as I wanted, so I'm hoping for a heck of a lot more in this book. Next, I have Exquisite Captive by Heather Delimitis? I don't know. Leah, who is a djinn who is sold to a master on Earth, and she would just do anything to escape after she escaped this coup that destroyed nearly everyone, pretty much everyone she loved, and now she would just do anything to get out of underneath the thumb of her newest master. Enter a sworn enemy of hers, and I imagine he somehow helps her get free. That's all I really know. I like going into these kind of books blind, so I have like no expectations, so that I can kind of be surprised. And this one I can't say I'll get to like really soon, because it's like towards the bottom of my TBR list, but I'll get to it eventually. I have Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller. So this is about Rosmina, who has always wanted to be a warrior, and after something terrible happens during this trial she's supposed to have to be a warrior, her father banishes her into the unknown wilds, and the only way she will be allowed back into her village is if she can kill a god, which I guess leaves the question, how do you kill a god? But it's kind of tiny, not huge, under 300 pages definitely. This would be a really quick read, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. This one I'm probably going to get to real soon. And next I have The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Toshlock. I think I have a few books of hers actually that I still haven't read, but this one I want to get to because this is a Beowulf retelling, but with an all-female crew. That seems to be a theme going on with me lately, all female crews. I love it because you never see very much of them. You'll have like a lot of guys and maybe one girl, or a few guys and a few girls, but you hardly ever see all female crews. So like I said, this is Beowulf told with an all female crew. So I definitely think that will take a few different turns, especially with the whole Beowulf siring the second child of like that demon woman. That'll definitely be different in this one, I imagine. Next I have Sea Witch by Sarah Hennings. This is sort of a retelling of The Little Mermaid, but from like the Sea Witch's perspective. Our main character Evie watched her best friend drown, and ever since then she's been an outcast in her village. Then a girl who looks amazingly like her friend Anna shows up on shore, and even though she denies it, she's convinced that her friend Anna did not drown, and somehow her powers might actually be more powerful than she thought, and together she is trying to help Anna break this curse. It's kind of like the Little Mermaid story, you know, she has to kiss the prince before her few days are up, which I'm not sure how that's going to turn, because considering the Sea Witch is supposed to be her friend on land, obviously she wouldn't take her voice and give her legs in exchange. So I'm not sure how that will change the story, but I'm very much looking for it. I always love these retellings told from like the villain's point of view. Very interesting. And last but not least in this box, another book I've almost picked up multiple times but have held out, and that is The Hunted by Megan Spooner. I've been hearing a lot about Megan Spooner, but I haven't read any of her books yet, so I will definitely start with this one. And I believe this one is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So our main character, our beauty character, is Eva, whose father a habit of going into the dark forest and always coming out with something, and then one day her father never comes back. So leaving her sisters at the cottage, she goes into the forest looking for the beast, and of course makes the trade for her father. And I do know she is trying to kill the beast some point in this book. So instead of just staying at the castle and being his captive, she's obviously trying to kill him. So that leaves the question, who will survive, the beauty or the beast? And that is my birthday book haul, my pre-birthday book haul, and my birthday book haul. Thank you. And that's all I've got for you. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!